Do you ever worry about your van breaking down in the middle of nowhere or feel unsure about the basics of car maintenance? Don't worry, you're not alone. Today, we're here to change that. Hi, I'm Katina with Gypsy Wander, your guide to thriving as a solo traveler and living full-time on the road. Welcome to Road Ready, a video series designed to empower solo female nomads with essential vehicle knowledge. We'll break down car care into simple, actionable steps that will help you stay confident and independent, no matter where your journey takes you. Joining me in this series is someone I trust with my own van, Becky Witt. Becky is the owner of George Witt Automotive, a family-owned business that has served Lincoln, Nebraska for over 30 years. She's nationally recognized as an industry leader and as an approved instructor for the Automotive Management Institute, where she's earned a reputation as one of their most engaging and trusted instructors. She's not just my mechanic, she's my friend. Okay, so thanks for joining me today, Becky.
Thank you.
Let's start with some basics. For many of us, van life is about freedom and adventure, but that freedom and adventure can quickly go away and turn into frustration if we don't know about our vehicle. And one of the most overlooked things that we have in our toolkit is our owner's manual. So Becky, why is it so important that we read our owner's manual and are familiar with it?
The owner's manual is your key to everything. It's going to start out with an index. It's going to cover what's on the dash. What do the lights do? How many lights do you have? What do they do? And then it tells you what each one. You look at a certain light and it'll tell you, okay, this is this light. Here's what it does. Here's what you do if the light comes on.
Okay.
It's an instruction manual. It's like a little recipe manual for what do you do, tells you how to shift the gears, how to back up, tells you how to back a trailer. And
so really basic stuff, but it's also stuff that we need to know because it's going to be specific to our car.
Well, not only is it specific to your car, but modern cars just have a million features. You know, and there's things that the car will do that you don't know. If you don't read the book, you're not going to know that if you want to reset trip A to monitor how far you went on gas, and then it will tell you there's another menu set of buttons you push that'll tell you how many miles per gallon you're getting. If you don't know how to do this, the book is your reference.
Right.
The book will tell you how to change a tire. It'll tell you where the jack's located. It'll give you instructions on this. The owner's manual is your little friend. It's like having a little mechanic person sitting in the seat next to you that says, no, don't do it that way. Do this.
Yeah.
Here's how to change the interval for your intermittent wipers.
Okay.
So maybe you can adjust the speed based on how much water's coming down.
Mm-hmm.
Just all these little different things. It'll tell you how to override certain things that don't work. There may be controls that are inside the glove box that you don't know they're in there.
Okay.
There's how to get into the trunk when your battery's dead. It'll tell you which gas to use, which oil to use.
Oh, okay.
There's specifications for all these fluids. It'll tell you all about that.
Okay.
And it's like 500 pages.
Okay.
The first car I ever had, I won't say how old it was, but the owner's manual was 35 pages. Car didn't do much. Here's how you start it. Here's where the brakes are. That's all you need to know.
Yeah. And, my car is a Toyota. It's the first Toyota I've ever had. And there are little differences between cars. You may think you know how to operate something because it, like the intermittent thing on your windshield wipers.
Yep.
It's pretty much the same between cars, but then the symbols will be different, or it has even a different feature, whatever. And so the owner's manual is really, and I'm a proponent for reading manuals. So
the first thing you want to do is you need to be an expert on what maintenance does your vehicle require, and for that you want an RTFM. Read
RTFM.
RTFM. Read the factory manual.
Oh, I thought the F was something else.
No, it's for
factory.
Factory.
Read the factory manual.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you're exactly right. So on one of my forums, they said this woman called up and said that her warning light had come on, and they said, well, which light is it? She said, it's the alien light.
The alien light.
The alien light. Well, she said the check engine light, it looks more like an alien
Okay.
than anything else. You know, if you're a professional attorney, you don't know what an engine looks like.
Right. Yeah. So that is good. Because there's tons of lights in our car, and they try to make it so that we all this is what that means. But you look at it and it doesn't. You need to go to your manual and find out what does that light mean.
Bingo. And this also prevents you from making an emergency, canceling a trip because your wrench light came on. And holy, do I need to get this towed in or what?
Yeah.
I've had people get very distraught because their little wrench light came on and they didn't know what that meant.
Right. Yeah. So we can just look in our manual, and that's our first stop shop.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you recommend we keep a maintenance log over the lifetime of our vehicle, and what should we keep in this maintenance log?
Modern cars take very little maintenance. A 1951 Ford had 26 grease fittings, and every 2,000 miles, you had to put a grease gun on each one of those grease fittings. Today, there are no grease fittings left. You don't have to do any of that. You don't have to take the wheel bearings apart and clean them. It takes very little maintenance. When you understand how much is going on, it's amazing, so little maintenance. But now that maintenance can become critical. As an example, spark plugs. Used to be you had to do spark plugs every 10,000 miles. Now, 100,000. It's real easy to let it go. But if you do, a worn spark plug can take out your ignition system because as a spark plug wears, it takes more energy to fire, and you frankly overwhelm and overwork the rest of the ignition. And now you've got a huge expense because you got to replace coils, you got to replace this and that. Stresses everything. You could have just put spark plugs in and you're done. But if it's every 100,000, now you've forgotten.
Right.
Just like with coolant, the old days, every first freeze, the gas station was overwhelmed with people wanting to get their antifreeze checked to make sure they had enough antifreeze because you mixed it. Well, you don't mix it anymore. Now it's pre-mixed. You never have to check the percentage. And the initial charge is designed to go 100,000 miles on a Honda and a Toyota. You don't mess with that till 100,000 miles. If you don't keep track of this stuff, now it gets away from you.
Right.
And so instead of having your water pump protected from failure and your radiator protected from corrosion, this stuff breaks down and now it attacks everything. It eats the seal out of the water pump. It makes the radiator leak. The hoses go bad and you say, what a crummy car.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't a crummy car. All you had to do was drain the stuff out, put the stuff in, we're done.
Yeah.
Now
remembering when you did that and when you need to do that is hard. And so having some sort of maintenance log where you just write down probably the date and miles that you're doing these things so that you were,
for heaven's sakes, we've all got a desktop. We've all got a laptop. Pretty much everybody has access to a spreadsheet program.
Yep.
How hard is this?
Right.
Okay, well, here, 8,000 miles, you do this, 15,000, you do that. Tells you right in the book.
Yep.
Right in the read the factory manual. It's right. It's right in there.
Yep.
It's real easy for Honda and Toyota both, and I'm sure that other car makers have this. But if you just do a Google search for Honda Owner's Manual, you can go to the actual factory Honda website and open up and read all 500 pages of an owner's manual for a specific car if you don't have one.
Oh, okay.
Because for some reason, people think that when they sell a car, they need to keep the manual.
Yeah, they're not going to have the car anymore.
I got to keep this,
Yeah, and it's probably common buying a used car not to have a manual.
Well, yes, and I guess the other thing that happens is people take it out of the glove box and put it into the house.
Into the garbage.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It just gets lost.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do we need to know about the different fuel options at a gas station?
Hooray. Thank you. There's 3 things you need to know about fuel. One is RTFM. Read the factory manual to find out what fuel is supposed to go in your car.
Okay.
As an example, my little hot rod down there takes premium.
Okay.
And it says when you open the fuel filler door, premium gas.
So you can't just do the regular unleaded.
Bingo. So they designed the car such that if you find that you're almost out of gas and you're in Bucksnort, Kentucky,
yeah,
they don't have premium fuel, you can put regular in.
Okay.
And it will make the car ping and knock and just carry on like crazy. The computer will pick all of this up. It'll change the settings so that you can get to the next gas station where you can put premium in. So people will sometimes go, well, that stuff's too expensive, and it is.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money. So I'm just not going to use that. You're an idiot. You're destroying your engine. Bad things will happen. Yeah.
So I don't have a car with all those bells and whistles. And so I have a 2006 Toyota Sienna. Is the fuel I put in, my manual going to tell me specifically that specific?
Yes.
What type of fuel?
Yes. Your factory manual will tell you to use 96 octane.
Okay.
Which is generally right on the pump label, 86. E10 unleaded will generally be 87, which is okay. You do not want to put premium in, which is 91 or 90. Some people think, I'll give my car a treat and I'll put the expensive stuff in.
Yeah.
It's not a treat.
Oh, okay.
Right.
What about this new ethanol-free or E85 or something that is generally sometimes cheaper?
I love this. All right. So you're talking about the new E88 or 88 octane, they're calling it.
Okay.
It's the worst thing you could ever do to a car. It is 15% ethanol. There's not as much energy in a gallon of ethanol as there is in a gallon of gas. It takes more resources to produce that from corn than it does to drill a hole in the ground. And the high alcohol content can corrode all kinds of things in your system. Alcohol is extremely corrosive. And if your system was not designed to do that, then you're going to have a breakdown.
Okay.
So I researched Honda and Toyota, and I found out that according to the factory manual for Honda and Toyota, you can use it for 2014 and later, but 2013 and earlier, you don't put it in.
Okay.
Now the ads are telling you, government says it's approved for use in 2000s. The fact that they approve it, they didn't make the car.
Right. If it doesn't help our car go.
If it harms the car.
Okay.
So I personally, I always look for the plain unleaded without ethanol. You can't find that every place. But I would use the octane that it says, which most cars that use regular, it's 86.
Okay.
Now this will change as you get into higher elevations because they use a lower octane because of the elevation.
Okay, and
So
we're going to talk about driving conditions and...
Yes, now we're still talking about fuel.
Right.
So what you really want to know is what's the best fuel for my car? There is a website just for this, and it's called toptiergas.com.
Toptiergas.com.
Right.
Okay.
This is one that the gasoline companies and the car manufacturers got together and said, here's the specs, and here's all about the specs for fuel, and here's where you can get it.
Okay.
So you always want to buy Top Tier Gas, which is available, toptiergas.com.
Okay.
In this area, Shell, Texaco, Conoco, Phillips will be your featured better brands. And the places that are cheap that you go may not be top tier gas. If they won't have the additives in. Everybody knows the same gas comes out of the same pipeline. No, it comes out of the same pipeline. Well, the additive package is different.
Really? So gas, when I go to a no-name gas station and I'm going there because it's cheap, I'm not getting the same thing as if I go to a Shell or a Conoco or a Texaco or whatever.
Right.
The gas is not the same.
Gas is not the same. And just because it's cheap doesn't mean it necessarily isn't top tier gas.
But you're gambling.
Yeah, well, you can go to the website and they'll have the brands there.
Okay, so this top tier gas,
Yes, talking about gas.
is going to tell us if that particular gas station, what brand of gas they have.
Exactly.
Okay, that's good to know.
I know.
I didn't realize
Top tier
that.
jelly. It's not top tier waffles. It's toptiergas.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about keeping spare parts with us? Should we keep extra fluids, belts, fuses, hoses? What do you recommend that we carry with us just as kind of a backup plan if we need something along the way? What do you recommend we have with us?
Okay. We used to have to carry belts and hoses and all that stuff. If you use factory coolant, you may never have to replace a hose.
Oh.
Okay. So there's that. Belts now, top quality belts, they're going 50,000 miles. And when I first went to extended service oil, people said, I need my car checked. It was 3 months, 3,000 miles. I need my car checked more often. No, you don't. This stuff ain't going wrong. Belts last a long time. Hoses last a long time. I said, what do you want me to sell you that you don't need? Because there isn't nothing that you need anymore at a 3,000 mile interval.
Okay.
As far as what do you carry, I'm the most prepared person ever. I carry a little air compressor, so if I have a low tire, I can air it up. I carry a little tire repair kit so that I can repair a tire. I carry a little thing of Pookie so that I can pump it into a tire and destroy the tire, but seal up a leak and get home. I carry a little booster box in case my battery goes dead so that I can jump start myself.
Okay.
So I've got an air compressor, a jumper box, a way to fix a tire, and then other motorcycle stuff, rain suit.
So do we need to carry, and I mean, we'll know our own vehicle, or we should, but we don't necessarily need to carry an extra quart of oil unless our car is one that we know uses oil. We don't need to keep extra coolant with us or anything like that.
Now it depends on how far out do you go and how often do you get to land.
Okay.
All right. So if you're a person that boondocks a lot, I'd have a gallon of coolant. I'd have a quart of oil.
Okay. Just because you may be a long ways out.
I actually have 2 quarts of oil that you could spring a leak. You could spring a leak, your oil light could come on, and you go, oh my gosh. So 2 quarts generally will get you where you need to go.
Okay.
Gallon of coolant generally will get you filled up enough to get you where you need to go. And it wouldn't hurt to have some fuses. And if you have fuses, you need to have a fuse puller.
A fuse puller, okay.
Yes, because even I, as with fairly strong fingers and a lot of experience, I can't get these fuses out.
Okay.
And there's a little fuse puller, it's a little plastic thing, pushes on clips and you can pull a fuse out. It's in the fuse box of some cars, but it wouldn't hurt to have, a little tin, 3 little tins of fuses, a 10 amp, a 20 amp, and a 30 amp.
Okay.
Fuses.
What about other tools besides a fuse puller? Are there other tools that we should have?
Well, now that depends on what would you do with them if you had them.
A flashlight's probably a good tool to have.
Flashlight. Should always have a flashlight.
Okay.
And so.
Oh, wow.
You need to have a flashlight, and it's helpful if it's magnetic.
Okay.
So there's. I like.
A lot of us nomads have headlamps.
Yeah, that's
that would work too. But having the extension and the magnetic part, that's helpful too. You can never
have too many flashlights.
Yeah.
Right. And as far as tools go, I carry in both my bikes that I travel with. One's metric, one's US. So I would have a basic little set of wrenches.
Okay.
A screwdriver, Phillips and plane, just kind of a basic little.
Okay, so nothing really beyond what we would normally have with us anyhow.
Yeah.
What about a roadside assistance plan? Do you have any opinions on that?
Boy, that's a great question. I have not had to have a car. I mean, it's like less than every 100,000 miles that I actually have to have a car towed in. So that's the first thing. The second thing, now we have cell phones. So now we can get on the cell phone and find out, Siri, what do we got for roadside assistance? And maybe find a guy closer than what our roadside assistance provider can have. So if you are going to go with roadside assistance, I would suggest the gold standard is probably AAA. I'm not telling you not to use them, but AAA is probably universally the best spread out and probably not a bad thing to have.
Okay. We should probably also look at, the type of traveling we're doing. If we're out on BLM land or in a forest, we may be in spots that either we don't have cell service, or even if we did, they don't cover those areas. So that's something to be aware of too. So when you live in one location, you generally have your preferred service people, which includes, a mechanic. But we're traveling all over the country, and how do you suggest we handle that as far as a regular mechanic? Do we need a regular mechanic? How would we manage that when we're moving all over?
So my suggestion, if you're going to be a gypsy wanderer, you develop a relationship with one shop to which you return.
Okay.
Okay. I used to RV, and I've got a Bluebird Wander Lodge bus made by the Bluebird Bus Company. It's never been a school bus, but they were designed specifically to be a luxury RV. And they all have an altimeter and a compass. That's to help the birds return to the same spot every year. So you should have an altimeter and a compass so that you can return to your trusted spot, wherever that is. And there may be more than one.
We should be familiar with our vehicle. We should have a trusted mechanic that is in a place where we, you're my mechanic. I come back to Nebraska every December. And regardless of whether I'm having problems or not, I have you go over my car. And of course, I am having problems now, and we're working on that. But that's what we really need, is someone who we go to whether it be every year or our mechanic. We need a mechanic specifically for us. Doesn't mean that out on the road we're not going to have problems, and we may need to get something repaired. But we communicate that. I communicate that back to you, or I call you and say I'm having this problem, and that's what they're recommending. What do you think?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so we just got a real good example of your personal experience.
Uh-huh.
We put in an axle seal because it was leaking. Now you go 10,000 miles, you're fine. Now it's leaking again. So the next shop puts in another seal. Now you come to us, and the first thing we say is, that bushing's gone in the transmission. There's too much play. That's damaging the seal. So the shop you were just most recently at should have been able to say, there's too much play in this. This is the cause. The seal is the effect.
Okay. But they got me on the road.
They got you on
the road. And that's what you would have probably suggested, so that I can come back here and see what's going.
Right.
But because you are my mechanic, you knew that axle seal had been replaced, and they replaced the same one, and now it needs to be replaced again. We've got a bigger problem.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, good example.
And ideally, you should find somebody who reports to Carfax.
Okay.
Carfax will be your little portable briefcase that you can take with you. And actually, as a nomad, you got to be crazy if you're not keeping paper copies of your repair orders.
Yeah.
In a file folder in the glove box that you have room for because you threw away the owner's manual. So you've got those little things, but it would be great if you find a repair shop that reports to Carfax, because you bring your car to me, I report to Carfax. All I got to do is put in the license plate number. Boom, I've got your service history. I can tell you when you had to do that last oil seal, because it'll be in the Carfax records. And I'll be able to tell, okay, we've got a repeat problem here with.
Right. So that's really a handy service that I didn't realize happened. I thought you buy a Carfax report when you buy a new car, and it's going to tell you if it's been an accident, but it'll also tell you repair history. So when we've been from Arizona to Pennsylvania, they're going to know what you did at a repair shop in Arizona.
There's two parts to Carfax. The first part is, has it been in a wreck? That's your accident history, which is sketchy, because if some rich guy's 16-year-old kid ran in the ditch, totaled the car, he ain't talking to insurance, he has Ivan the Terrible repaired in his garage, and nobody knows, it won't show up in a Carfax loss report.
Okay.
Okay. The other side, and you have to pay for that information. The other side of Carfax is repair history, and that only shows up if the shop that you take it to subscribes and reports to Carfax.
Okay.
Your better shops are going to report to Carfax. We report to Carfax. So the only way you're going to find that information is to go to a shop that subscribes to it.
And it's a simple question.
Yeah.
Do you report to Carfax?
You report to Carfax.
Okay.
And if the answer is yes, then I can see your whole history.
That's handy.
And it's even better than that, because you can tell how thorough a shop is. I can tell you if a car's been to us or not, because some shops will say, perform maintenance. Well, thank you, Mr. Encyclopedia. Ours will tell you that we rotated the tires here with the brake measurements, on and on and on. And this is important stuff to know, because if you have, people think that brake wear is linear, okay? So it's going to be so much per mile. But if a caliper sticks or there's some malfunction with the system, Now we're going to have one brake pad that's worn more than the other. So now I'm able to see, okay, we've got a problem here with a caliper or a caliper slide or something like that, so that I can repair it before it goes to the metal and damages a brake rotor, and we have a way more expensive repair.
Okay, so a shop that reports to Carfax and uses Carfax is really going to they're going to have all the information and be able to provide us with better repair.
Right. Now, the problem that we've got right now is there's two basic types of repair shops. One is relational. They love you. They care about you. They want a relationship with you. The other one is transactional. They want to sell you stuff. They don't care if it does you any good or not. They want your money.
Okay.
We can actually liken these to maybe guys. You know, there's guys that are going to care about you in the morning, and there's guys that didn't care about you now.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So a transactional place is going to say, we do your maintenance. You need maintenance. Well, we all know that a machine needs to be maintained.
Right.
But the question is, what needs to be maintained? You need your transmission flushed. Look at this stuff. Your factory manual will tell you when to change the fluid, how to change the fluid, and what fluid to use.
Okay.
So the manual will tell you which fluids to use, and it'll have specifications. And this is important because many of the fluids don't interchange.
Oh, okay. And we're going to talk more about this in another video.
Yes, we're going to talk about this in another video. Too many mechanics are not going to training. They're like, it's oil. Motor oil's motor oil. You know, coolant's coolant. Yeah, come on. I'll put the green stuff in. We'll be fine. Nothing could be further from the truth. Untrained mechanics will say, well, the only reason they made special stuff is so they can make more money. Put their name on it. They're just doing it for money. No, they're doing it because they got a reason.
Okay.
As an example, Honda came out with their own coolant 40 years ago because their water pumps were failing. After a study, they found out that it was the silicates or grit that was in green antifreeze that was chewing their seals up. They came out with a special antifreeze that doesn't have that in it, and now their water pumps last forever.
But if your mechanic isn't using the special Honda formulated coolant.
Exactly. So this goes for every car. Every car has certain fluids that it needs to use. They were developed for a reason, none of which are so the company can make more money by putting their name on the fluid.
It's to make your car run better.
Exactly. It's for a reason.
Okay.
When these guys go crazy on flushing things out, and especially if they feature a brand of products that are additives, never put an additive in your car. I don't care what they tell you, ever.
Oh, okay.
Okay. The one exception would be something that goes in the gas tank.
Oh, okay.
You can put that in.
Okay.
But you don't put anything in the radiator. Oh, this stuff will clean out all the gunk. If you use the right coolant, you don't have gunk.
Okay.
Okay. And this stuff will clean out the crud in the crankcase. Use the right oil, you won't have crud in the crankcase. You need your transmission flushed. If you use the right fluid, you don't need it flushed. So the manual will tell you what fluids need to be done and when. There will actually be a chart in there, and it will tell you at what mileage you change spark plugs.
Okay.
Okay. And it will tell you the actual part number of spark plug to use. So you don't fall for this. Oh, we got this triple whammy spark plug that looks like an octopus, and it's great.
Yeah.
Well, it's not great. It's great for them. They sell it and make money.
But you want to use what is specific for your vehicle.
Exactly. I'm going to suggest that if you go to the right repair shop, they will report to Carfax.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. The cute little box. Carfax has a thing that keeps track of your maintenance.
Okay.
And so if you bring me a car that has been to shops that report to Carfax, I'll be able to look up and see how often you did this service, when you changed spark plugs, and you'll have your whole history. It'll just be right there.
Oh. So we don't necessarily need to keep a specific log.
Well,
it's probably still a good idea.
I would always suggest that we keep a log, but I would be more likely to have my car serviced at a place that reports to Carfax.
Okay.
These are questions that you can ask.
Okay.
You know, if you're going to evaluate my maintenance, do you report to Carfax? If they say no, how can you check the Carfax records to find out?
Sure.
When we put spark plugs in.
Right.
This only makes sense.
Right.
Wow, already so much great information, and we have only scratched the surface. We have so much more to talk about on our automotive journey.
Stay tuned for our next video where we'll dive into some basic vehicle maintenance tips to keep your van running smoothly. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so that you're notified when the next video is out. Until next time, stay wild and free.